Welcome to Milesville. And now, cliche, right? I'm MV, and you want to be free to do whatever you please with whatever you do. No matter if you have a job, car, or a company. Whether if you're a man or a woman, you want to be free to do your own thing, your own way, your way. Now, this might get a little crazy by the end, but we're doing something a little bit different here. I wrote a book, which you all should go purchase or go read, but enough about me. We're going to read the last chapter of my book, which I believe is peace, peace of mind, free from fear of all anxiety and depression, because we all have it. It's just the ability to be able to handle those things, the ability to be able to handle yourself in any situation. Like I said, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as you do your own way, which you do, what does it matter? What does it matter where you work? What does it matter what kind of car you drive? What does it matter if you have a company or not? It all matters to you if you believe you are doing what you want to do, right? You know, a little while ago, about 4 years ago, when this book that I wrote, situation happened to me, I was lost. I was so deep in depression, nobody could pull me out. But this one girl, she saw something in me. I think for other reasons, but she brought something out of me. She made me really realize who I am, who I want to be. Yeah, it ended up with a heartbreak and a shitty situation, excuse my language. And it just all got tangled up and bumbled up into this ball that I was like of yarn, and I couldn't even pull a string to release any of it. It was just all stuck. I believe it was in my head. Some of it was in my heart, and deep down to my core, my soul, I knew I was undesirable. I would look in the mirror and my reflection back was not who I wanted to be, who I knew I could be. Now, enough rambling. This is going to be an interactive course. We're going to read. We're going to go through some questions. We're going to kind of go back and forth. I'm going to ask you some questions, and go ahead, take out a piece of paper, write down these questions, write down everything that you want to write down. Make sure to pause if you need some time. I'm going to go a little bit fast, but I'll try to keep it slow to pace. Now, you want to be free. Sorry if I got cut off there. You want to be free. You want to find your own way. How do you lead yourself? How do you become free? Yes, this is my notepad. So just in case you're wondering why I'm looking over there, I told you, this is going to be very interactive. It's me and you here, you and I. Let's work on us. Let's work on you. And don't forget about me. Who do you want to be? That should be your me. Now, no more tangents. How do I find my own way? You start by fixing your own damn problems. Don't worry, I'm going to help you out. Okay? Now, Arena may have left me. And before I actually decided to be with this girl, I thought I was working on myself. It was a couple years back that I was in college, 1 year college dropout. But I was with this girl, another girl. And after her, I just didn't feel right. So I thought I was working on myself. I said, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it just didn't work out. I started drinking a lot every weekend. I was a weekend alcoholic. And just something inside of me was just like, what are you doing? Is this really what you want? Is this what you truly desire? No. I'd look in the mirror and I'd be ashamed. So ashamed of the person that I have driven myself to be. But that changes all today. Because the first step, which we're going to go through all 5 of them, I'll explain them as they go. I won't just lay them all out and then let you decide what you want to do. Because like I said, it's me and you now. Let's work together. So, the first step is actually no more breaking promises. From now on, say it with me. I promise to not break promises to myself or to others. I will only make promises that I can keep, and the promises I say no to, or the people I say no to. Hopefully they understand me and why I don't want to break promises I can't keep. Okay? Good. If you need to rewind and repeat that, repeat it. Say it. Speak it into existence, as they say. But it's not all about that. It's about you saying it with your own tongue, with your own words, with your own voice, that I will not break promises to myself, 1, to others, 2, to anything that I do, 3. No more breaking promises. That's where we start. Now, the actual first thing I did was look in the mirror. I looked and I saw, or at least back then I was seeing, what reflection was coming back at me. What was it? Was I happy? Really happy with myself? With how I look? If you want to be naked in the mirror, go ahead. I don't judge. What is it that you want to see? That's where I started. I started with looking in the mirror. And I know that's very hard for some people. Some people are so deep into a hole that they feel like they can't get out of. But I promise you, if you do these steps, you go through this journey, this or that journey, you will get out of that hole. It may not be as fast as you want it to be. It may not be as awesome or perfect as you want it to be. But I promise you, you take this challenge, you do these steps, you go through the mud a little bit. You know, it starts from the ground up. I promise you, you will change. You will be free. And by the end, you'll come back to that mirror and you'll finally see someone that you could be happy to be. Someone that you could potentially love. And that's the goal. I believe right now we have a war on love. It's not about destruction, fighting, all those other things. We've had that. Sometimes it may come down to that. But I believe it's the war on loving and believing in yourself. That you could do anything you want. And with these 5 steps, it's a start. It's a start to doing what you want to do your own way. And I believe by the end, you'll feel a relief that is like, I'm finished. I finally got through it. I believe you will. I believe in you. It's just sometimes once you go through one stage, you're always led to another. And that's awesome, right? That's life, right? At least this time, while you're doing it, you could be happy. You could be like I did that shit. Nobody could stop me, no matter what they put in front of me. No matter the job, no matter the bills, no matter the economy or the government, no matter what it is. I could do me, my own way. Now, I'm not saying there's no rules, because we live in a rural world. We do have laws too. But the goal is not to obey those laws, but to say, okay, this is what you put in front of me, that's fine. I see the problem. I know I am the solution. I could solve these problems and make my life better while somewhat obeying them. Because it's all up to you. If you want to be free, you have to think free. Okay. I'm rambling a little bit, but I don't know. Starting to like you. Let's continue. So, the first step I actually took was a look in the mirror. That's a hard thing to do for some people. I was one of them. I promised to make myself happy. Look in that mirror and make that promise. 2 promises. Look at that. We're already starting. I knew right off the bat. I was sad. I was sad to my core, to my soul. I know I needed to change. I know I needed to change what I needed to change. But what did I need to change? How can I change that? What are the answers to changing that? Something said back to me, fix your own damn problems. I knew if I had problems, and it was probably me or about me not doing something to solve that problem or solve those problems, I knew that I would always be in a situation that didn't feel successful. And isn't that all that we want? Is to be successful in our own life? Some people want money, some people want fame, some people want just to have a couch to sleep on and just watch TV all day. That may be successful to them. But if you have more problems than solutions, are you truly successful? And vice versa. If I had problems, and it was probably me, finding problems and learning them, that's step 1. Because if you have more solutions than problems, doesn't that make you a success? Finding problems and learning them. Step 1. How do I find the problem? Well, I asked myself, what's the problem? I started rambling on about the problem is people don't love me. And now do you see the problem? I want other people to find the love for me, not the other way around. Finding the love for me. People are going to do what they want to do. People are going to love who they want to love. It's about you now. Be a little selfish. It's okay. I believe when you start to feed into you and you start to better yourself, you start seeing all the bad people around that haven't been bettering yourself. And 2, you actually get to help other people because you went through it and you started to better yourself little by little. After this, I believe it'll be more than a little. But don't worry. We're on this path together. And if you ever need to chat, you can find me on all social medias. TikTok, Instagram. I don't know about YouTube yet. Twitter. And we could talk. Just talk. And I'll listen. I promise. Now, let's continue. It's about you now. Be a little selfish. You have to in order to find your own way. I believe when you find happiness in yourself, you can give happiness to others. And some people want to show and give that feeling away to others. But the choice is yours. It is now. I started off with smaller problems and then strived to bigger ones. I knew insecurities was a huge one, and jealousy too. So I waited to solve those. I know those problems of mine were big ones. So how do we find your own way to happiness with solutions? Are you not happy when you have more solutions instead of problems? I hope you are. Or we got a problem. Problem number one. Look, I like smoking, okay? I know it's not the best for me, but hey, I was a stoner. And that's some truth of mine. You know, now it's medical, which isn't a bad thing. Just for me, I sometimes use it as a handicap to do other things or to procrastinate and be lazy. It was a problem of mine that it was an addiction. Can't speak. It was a problem of mine that it was an addiction. I needed it. I wanted it to do this or to do that or just to relieve my mind for a little bit. But you see where the problems lies? I have them too. And this is where it came down to. I started off slow. I didn't just cold turkey, just cut it off right away because, let's face it, that's a very hard task to do. And kudos to you if you can. But me, I have pretty eyes to look at. They're blue. But when I smoke, they turn red. And people like to stare at my eyes. And red eyes were a no-go for me. I was insecure with that. Because I knew when I look at somebody, I want them to look at me. I didn't want them to look at what was going on influence-wise. I eventually stopped smoking. I worked my way up to it. But when I was doing it, and my insecurity was those red eyes, I started carrying clear eyes, or Visine, whatever eye clearing product that you could use. I started keeping it in that little pocket in the jeans that, Steve Jobs said for, that's where your iPod goes. I started carrying it there. And yeah, at first it was a little bit weird. I'd smoke, I'd hang around with my crew, be with friends or whatever, and then all of a sudden when I'm done smoking, I'd pop in the clear eyes. They'd be like, why are you doing that? Some of them felt a little bit like, he doesn't want to look high around us, or he thinks that he's better than us because he wants to have his eyes whiten while all our eyes are red. Those weren't the case. Those are all those thinking processes that by the end of this I believe will fix. I needed it. I wanted it because if I was to go out in public, I didn't care if I was high or if I smoked a cigar or whatever it was. I didn't care. I loved smoking. I still kind of do. But I didn't love that I had red eyes. That people could see there was something going on with me. Because that's what it is. Judgment. And I believe we shouldn't judge others for judging us. We should judge ourselves on how we judge others. Because it all comes down to you now. If you feel okay with smoking and having red eyes and, being high or whatever, cool. That's how you know you're doing you. Me, I didn't feel that way. I felt insecure. So how did I fix that problem? With a solution. Clear eyes. Yes, some people may not have liked it, but I liked it because then I could go on being me freely. That was problem number one I fixed. It was small, but it felt good because I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And isn't that the case? To stop worrying? Let's continue. Being prepared is half the battle. Problem number two. I always had a shy voice. When I was younger, I was a shy kid. Still kind of am to this day. Some don't see it as a problem. I do. How did I fix my shyness? I started to listen and observe the people I wanted to be like. The people I also didn't want to be like. The people that said something interesting that I just randomly heard walking past them. I started to observe and listen more. Then I spoke. Silence is power too. You see, when we were younger, we were sponges. We soaked up in everything, took in all this information, just grab, 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 grab. Now, as adults, or even teenagers, I feel like we're always pushing or taking or forcing or just like output, output, output. There's no more input. And if you need input to do output. So we learned a lot. And then we got to a point that we said, I know everything now. Is it true though? Because if you actually stop and listen to somebody, and yeah, I know people can be all fake and lies and everything, but even then, if you stop and you stay silent and you listen to them ramble on, you'll start to see who they really are. And then you get to decide, hey, do I want to be around this person? Do I want to talk with this person? Do I want to talk like this person? What is it that I want? I said, be a little selfish. Because then when you actually get to a person that you actually want to talk to, where you're like, wow, I sat back and I listened to this person. Only a few sentences, obviously keep the engagement going and the conversation. Don't be a weirdo like me. But you start to hear it in their voice and what they're saying, and you're like, wow, I want to talk to this person more. I like talking to this person, and you keep going. It's all about you now. We're solving you and me, together. There's no shame. There's no judgment here. I think I love you. I feel like I love you already. Now, let's continue. I wanted my voice to be loud when I speak, so I had to prepare. And when conversation starts, it's hard to think and prepare while you're talking, right? So I decided to listen. But what if it's a one-on-one and you can't not talk or speak? I say that's a problem because people love to speak. And why aren't you asking questions you want to listen to when someone speaks? Get it? I'm not into small talk, but I know people don't trust you fully until they trust you fully. So, question. So what questions can I ask or want to ask to see if I trust this person fully? Go ahead, write them down, quick. All the questions you want to ask to, let's say me, let's say to somebody else. Let's say to Andrew Tate. Sorry, I just had to put that in there. Go ahead, write them down. I can't do all the work for you. I wrote down, why do you blank? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? I like to get to know people, really know them. And the only way I could do that is ask, why do they do this? Or why do they do that? Makes sense, right? No, they're not questions for everybody. Sometimes you have to use small talk or do small talk in convenience stores or certain places just to get by. Remember, it's about you now. If you don't want to ask these questions to these people, don't. Stay silent, my friend. Silence is power. People love to talk about themselves. I'm guilty as charged. Alright, fine. I'll give you another one. Just because I love you for reading this long. I think I'm starting to like you. How do you do blank? Okay, maybe that's too cliche. How and why? What does a person like you do for blank? For money? For fun? For happiness? For when you do whatever you want to do? Whatever you want to know from them. Problem. 2 is speech, right? Or having smart conversations, right? High status and all that. So, what do high status people talk about? Problem and solutions. I could do this for you. I could do that for you. So, you want to speak better, right? Start to listen to the way people speak by asking the questions you want to learn how to hear. Problem number 3. Now, I like to elaborate more on the high status. I'll give you a bonus. How do I put this? Play defense, my friend. Play defense. Because when you're offensive, there's no way you could track that back. But when you play defense, you can always backpedal. You can always widen your stance. You can always backtrack or even forward track. Play defense. Hear what they're saying. Then say what you need to say. Play defense. Then be offense. Then be on the offense. Don't be offensive. I wouldn't recommend it. It'll always bite you in the ass. But when you play defense, some people may see it as Gandhi. But you'll soon realize when you play defense, you hear more of what they're trying to say, what they're actually trying to say. And then you can communicate appropriately. Me, I like to be truthful. I like to be blunt. If people are being fake, I'm going to call them out. And then they get all shooken up like, oh, I wasn't saying that. No? I play defense. Because defense wins championships. And that's a fact. Let's continue. That's your only bonus, though. I'm just kidding. You're going to get a few more. But anyways.